Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Talk Trackmania. We are here, it is 2021, we are on episode 26 and we are happy to be back once again talking about today's Trackmania, talking about what's happened so far this year already, even though we're only on the 5th of January, and to round up a little bit as to what's been happening since we were last here, which, checks my calendar, was quite a long time ago, that will tell me, but it is a new year. We, however, have the same faces. New year, however, it's just old versions. Me and Turbo, and of course Erwin on the backsides. We're still here. We've still got the Mickey Mouse on. But how's Turbo doing?
Yeah, man, I'm doing good. Also, Happy New Year from my side. And yeah, before we're going to start, I'm going to tell a joke.
Okay.
2019 and 2020 had a fight. Guys, you know what happened? 2021.
Oh,
that one is good, but you can only do it in 2021. And yeah, how are you doing? So I'm doing fine. Not have been up to something great lately. I also took a break from my study, tried to chill, but also felt miserably. Like Erwin, we had a talk before that as well. So yeah, I'm doing okay, I would say. What about you?
I'm doing all right. I mean, again, as much as we're going into a new year, I still find myself doing the same things. You know, we're still in. Actually, we're going back into the biggest level of lockdown you can get over here in the UK. So essentially, I'm not allowed to leave my house, which is fun. And yeah, it's just the same shit, different day for me. To be honest, it's like, you know, when you're on the summer holidays and like you start forgetting what day of the week it is. You know, that's the kind of stage I'm at. I don't even know whether I'm fucking coming or going. Like, I got a notification to put on my work schedule, which I get on Saturdays or Sundays, and here I'm thinking it's fucking Wednesday or something. You know, I've just completely lost track, don't know where I am, don't know who I am. But now we've got some restored normality. We are back with Let's Talk Trackmania. I finally have a stable standing point for my week. Tuesdays at 8 o'clock. We are back and we are here, and we are once again, as always, of course, representing ESAC, which brings us this podcast week in and week out with Mr. Weber in the backgrounds, of course, and a little announcement for what we did not have at the least past few weeks. Is the competitive open map pool actually now officially being released as of the 1st of January? It is available on Mania Exchange, and there will be some cool little videos coming up. So definitely get yourselves playing on them. Some tournaments are confirmed already to be using elements of the map pack, including the currently playing Velocity Team Cup, and would of course encourage any tournament organisers, current or promising, to contact us for any comp ideas. And map requests are always open, so remember, get your tracks in and hit us up if you've got any questions, of course. But yeah, 2021 Turbo, have we got started off to a good new year already?
Yeah, I mean, there have been a lot of things that were happening, especially on Twitter and also on. Yeah, I mean, this year we had only the nickname controversy, then Cup of the Day yesterday, and then also the TMGL maps that have been released. And before that, before the years have changed, we also had the awards. So a lot of things are happening. Again, some controversial things that have happened. But yeah, I mean, it's just a normal week in Trackmania, I would say. Only that the Trackmania Granding maps were coming out. And then also there was the Holdal Trackmania Awards today. So, I mean, it's usual Trackmania busyness, I would say, besides the awards and Trackmania Grand League. So maybe you have gotten something from that out as well.
Oh, well, exactly. I mean, what we were, of course, planning at the very least, and being the main subject from what carried over 2 weeks ago, was the Trackmania Awards, of course. For any who are not familiar, each year a jury comes together to nominate participants who have deserved commendation through their services in either one of the categories. So that could be, of course, streamer or caster of the year. That could be map of the year. That could be match of the year. You know, several different categories, of which four nominations typically, however, it has fluctuated up or down depending on different awards. Excuse me, while I'm just cleaning my glasses here so I can actually see in HD, so I can see Turbo's beautiful face. Anyway, so yeah, of course, the nominations period has already finished. we have had our awards winners already announced, and we had someone who's been nominated in both award shows sitting right to the left or right side of me. Mr. Turbo was nominated for awards this year.
Yeah, Caster of the Year it was. I mean, it's hard to really, consider that or decide who's Caster of the Year. I'm just glad that my name fall, because I think, I mean, what Eric said in his award show, we had probably the best years and the best year in the award or like in the Caster of the Year scene. We had so many different casters, and also a geek that is coming out of nowhere, kind of from zero to hero, really. I have to say that, and completely deserved that he won, if you ask me. And then we also had Riolu covering competitions, virtual, bring a lot of people in there, and then also Nekura from the French-speaking side. But I mean, I'm completely happy how the awards went for me. I just didn't really care if I win or not. I was checking in the votes. I was second in the ranking before the actual juries were in there, because I could have seen that. But then I got third, and I'm like, so what? I was nominated. I'm fine with that. And I take it as a huge honor, because it's subjective anyway. I'm happy with my cast. And yeah. But also you were also nominated for Cast of the Year, which I would also consider, because you deliver a very good cast, a very informative cast. Of course, it's a little bit easier for you because this is your native language, but of course you still have some pros or cons with that. But still, I mean, you've been nominated as well, and I think it's completely deserved. I just didn't understand. I mean, it's hard to really nail it down to 5-6 people or even 4 people in an award show. But you had your appearance on the Holdal Trackmania Awards, which eventually has been won by Geek. And I think it's deserved that he has won Caster of the Year this year, or last year.
Yeah, well, I suppose he's won the most recent Caster of the Year. I suppose that's the easiest way to say it. But yeah, I mean, both award shows were run differently, with the Trackmania Awards, which has been the typical series run previously by Eric Holdal, along with myself helping in various capacities, plus, a great amount of jury members in different categories. This year they done the season where the jury would propose a number of nominees. It could be any given amount from, I believe, 3 up until 7 or 8 or something like that. And then the jury would take votes on who they believed was most deserving of the award, and the public would also take votes as to who they believe would be most deserving of the award. And the jury would have a certain amount of weight attributed to their votes, as of course there'd be only a few of them, versus the amount of weight given to everyone else who was voting. So a little bit of a strange system. It was one that was initially a little bit hard to understand. Whereas Eric went to do his own award show this year, a bit dissatisfied with how the award shows had ran previously, and decided to just simply do the whole thing himself. It wasn't, who do you think won? It's, this is who I think won, and this is why I think they won. Which different, interesting to have different approaches being taken by two kind of, you wouldn't really say sections of the community, since Eric, he might be a big guy, but he's not a section all unto himself. But I mean, how did you feel about there being 2 different award shows this year?
Yeah, I mean, Eric has kind of a good point in there, because he said that he couldn't make up his mind for some stuff, and that he maybe was not agreeing with what he was up to in some sort of awards. Let's just say the Call Junior Awards. I think that's the biggest controversy, and I was in the jury for this one. So yeah, fuck, I just got overbid on a very rare card. That's why I was so hectic. But this card was 100 euro and it was going for 15.50, and I bid 15 euro. Fuck, man. But yeah, let's go back to the topic. I'm just closing eBay here. But that's the most controversial part that was coming up to. And I think he just wanted to make his own award show, because he was not agreeing with the parts that was coming from the other persons. And I think it's a good idea, because he is one of the persons who's also a lot of the community. And he's also a person that can make up a mind. Let's say I can also tell you guys what is match of the year, but I haven't fully seen every match. So, of course, there would be another puzzle piece, you coming into that, and then other people as well. But this was not happening. And I think just having one person instead of displaying kind of the whole community, because the Trackmania Awards from the Trackmania News was displayed by the whole community, was a good thing. And I don't know. I think it's a good thing, but also we have seen a lot of like repetitions in those awards. I haven't watched the whole award show since I was playing Cup of the Day, but I think it worked out pretty well. And it's something that Eric should maybe keep up for the next years. I haven't seen the announcement at the end. Maybe you have seen it, but I don't know what he said there, actually, because he wanted to make an announcement or stuff like that. Maybe the chat can help us out with that. But what is your opinion about that?
Well, my opinion about the awards in general, I very much like the fact that Eric did decide to go in a different kind of way of presenting his awards. And I think it really kind of highlighted some of the issues that I had with the Trackmania Awards in general. It really kind of exposed some of the issues, and particularly I seen there was quite a few highlights on Twitter from people who were unhappy with certain things about the awards. But overall, I would say both award shows were ran well, and they were both executed well. You got awards which generally, I'm not going to say exclusively, generally had the right kind of people getting nominated, had the right kind of people being, awarded recognition for the efforts they have put in throughout the year. But it's always the kind of case where you have a kind of solo award show, the likes of Eric had, that you're always going to be bowing to one person's bias when it comes to, what one person thinks as the the winner of this certain award. And then on the other side of things, you have a kind of mosh pit of however they handled the votes in the Trackmania Awards, where some of it would go to public votes, some of it would go to private votes, and all the rest of it. But just to run people through, actually, I did forget to, who actually won these awards, of course, as we kind of overlooked that a little bit somehow. So
yeah, true.
I'll run through the Trackmania Awards for you guys. So Community Person of the Year was Ozone. No, wait, no, sorry. Pardon me. It was Eric Holdal.
Yeah.
Content Creator of the Year was Boss Bravo. Skin of the Year was the Carl Jr. skin. I believe that was by Shumi. The Skinner of the Year was Shumi Skins. Movie of the Year was the Esports United movie by Shorts. Let me see. Movie Maker of the Year was Shorts. Map of the Year was Ghost. Mapper, Kisla, Streamer was Virtual. Let me see. Caster was Geek. Event was From Zero to Hero. Match was the From Zero to Hero final. Team was Numalops. Non-TM 2020 player was Morpheo. Amateur Player of the Year being Granade. Standout Player of the Year being Gwen. Pro Player of the Year, Pro Player of the Year also being Gwen. And in the Holdal Awards, let me just pull this up quickly. Didn't get to watch all of it, but Player of the Year Carl Jr. Most Improved Gwen. Event Leon Esports. Match From Zero to Hero Grand Final. Moment Gwen at the French Championships winning round. Performance Carl Jr. at Trackmania Grand League Winter 2020. Streamer Rielu. Caster Geek. And Story The New Game, of course, being Trackmania. Any kind of award winners that really kind of stood out to you there, or any specific points within any of the awards that really kind of stood out to you?
Yeah, I mean, Streamer of the Year, and also like how he gives the reason why he's picking, let's say, Caster of the Year, Streamer of the Year, Moment of the Year, or stuff like that. Because, I mean, you can always say, okay, I'm including this person, but he's saying, okay, I'm looking at that and I'm thinking he's the best because of this. And he thought Riolu is the best because of his consistency, because of his growth throughout the new game, and how he interacts. And, he's just there. He's like a very, very important person for Trackmania as a streamer. And I mean, it's cool to see the difference, because Riolu had the second least votes in Caster of the Year category, and only
Streamer.
Streamer of the Year, and only was coming in with 19% in there in total. And we had Virtual having the double amount by Streamer of the Year. So I think it is pretty biased, and this also shows how our perception from the game is. That I think, okay, I enjoy this content more, I enjoy this one more, but he also hasn't included things like Skinner, movie maker of the year, or map of the year, where we, of course, on map of the year, if you take a look here, Ghost had 17% of the votes, while Midnight Metropolis had 55% of the user votes, and it was still Ghost winning it because it had 5 jury votes. So a jury vote was very powerful, and also in some categories that has changed tremendously. I don't want to name a category where one player has voted for himself, but we're just going to leave that out.
Because don't worry, I'll get to that.
You will get to that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, then I can... okay, and then I know you can do it. But yeah, I mean, like, the voting in the Trackmania Awards, let me come to that, and the comparison to Eric is a little bit OP. Because let's just say a jury for, let's say, match of the year. There were 4 people in my jury team, and we had 33% of the votes. That means that we had roughly 7 point something percent, even more than that. 7% of all votes were counting towards that. So I had so much power in there. So something was definitely not right in there, that some juries had 4 people in there, and let's take caster of the year. There were, for example, 9 people in there. And this means that's 4% of it. So something is going wrong. Maybe, I mean, Lois suggested that already, that only a jury vote should have 10 votes instead of like percentage. But that's just my opinion. I thought that this is a good idea, because with that, you can really change something. But we've seen that in so many categories that the vote is really, really decisive there. And I think the Eric Award is good. Also that he hasn't used the awards that he couldn't make up a mind with. Let's take the categories like Skinner, movie, and stuff like that. And also that he was holding onto those categories, story of the year or moment of the year, because those are definitely things that really missed out on that give the thing a little bit of a character. You look back and you think like, there was this moment, and you really like identify with that. So I think the awards are good, but you can also see similar results in both of the awards. Let's just take the nominees and also the person who actually won.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. No, I think it's it was very interesting to see that there was some awards which were very close in terms of who was getting between both award shows. Sorry, there was some kind of consistency in the sense, like, for example, From Zero to Hero was mentioned quite a lot and was kind of unanimously considered to be very strong in that kind of regard. But there was quite a few problems I had. Now, of course, it's very hard to kind of point out problems when it's just one person doing an award show, other than the glaring problem of the sense that this is coming from Eirik's own point of view. This is coming from what Eirik sees as being the most important metrics to whatever would be, what would be most worthy of the award. Like, I'll just give you guys an example. So, Eirik focuses a lot on numbers, shall we say? Focuses a lot on statistics, a lot of streamer growth, a lot of followers gained, maximum amount of viewers, average viewers, and that sort of stuff. So Eirik may be I'm not saying he is, of course. I'm not saying it by any means he's just a blind follower of the amount of numbers. But Eirik then may be inclined to look more favourably upon the events that had more numbers attached, that had more exposure, rather than the events that may have just simply been executed significantly better, may have had the hype but may not have had the numbers to match it, kind of thing. So you're always going to have that kind of obvious bias in the sense that it's only one person's opinion, but you're going to have the secondary bias of what do you feel is more important in the kind of award you're giving. Like another primary example would be Map of the Year. Would you go to the one that was the most visually impressive? Would you go to the one that's technically the most impressive? Say the way the mapper has actually built the map, how the map actually feels and plays. You're always going to have that kind of issue.
It's very subjective, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Very subjective. And a lot of these awards are very subjective. That's why I didn't really have a problem with Eirik missing out on things like Skin and Skinner and Mapper of the Year, as it's really anyone can say that this person would be deserving of that, and it's very hard to say no, they shouldn't be, because you can bring your arguments to it, but that doesn't mean you're right. That's just a kind of nature of a solo award show, that you do always have that kind of problem. Now, to get on to the Trackmania Awards phase, now, it's not always just to talk doom and gloom about this, but it is something which I did note to them privately, as I was, for some reason, still part of the staff. So something I noted privately about what was brought up. Now, we talk about the jury votes there. As you were talking there, the jury has a massive weight attached to their vote. Now, the general problem, it seemed to be, that people had with the Trackmania Awards, at least run by the Trackmania news team, was that they didn't agree with how the jury voted. They didn't agree with who the jury nominated and things like that. A lot of the problems they kind of threw at the jury's door, and that's not always fair. And it wasn't fair in some of the cases that were given. I mean, I even get involved into some arguments on Twitter. I think it's just I like arguing with people, to be honest. But what I was kind of wanting to mention about there is that when you talk about having a jury for an award show, instead of just having one person, having a group of people, and you'll know this as you're, of course, part of the jury. I was part of many juries in years gone past. I was basically the jury for years gone past. Anyway, you ideally want, if you want to present the worthy recipients of this award and bringing nominees, then you want people who will do research, who will take the time to actually be able to find out who is the most deserving of the nominees. And I mean, you would have had your ears to the ground, as you were, of course, part of some juries, but you didn't always have that. You had some juries were very specialised. Typically, say, the non-TM 2020 player. You had people who were representatives of, say, the RPG community. You had people who were representatives of the Canyon community, who were invested in this and done work, looked into things, provided data, provided proof, or something to back up what they were saying. And you had other ones where, like, what was it, like Caster of the Year, they mentioned basically 5 or 6 names at the start, and then, right, okay, let's just write all the fucking statements up about them. Just as an example up like that. But how was your kind of feeling being part of the jury for the awards show this year?
Yeah, doing almost all the work myself, kind of. That was my idea. I mean, I wrote 4,000 characters. Words. Sorry, 4,000 words. I have a document with 9 pages that I was writing. And all the texts that I've seen before the award show, because I was presenting it, were terrible. They were so terrible. So many mistakes in there. I was sitting here 1.5 hours and I was like, dude, I have to reread all the texts, need to correct them, and then I also have to do it in front of 300 people. I mean, I had a lot of effort putting it into that, but it was way more than I expected. And I thought, to me, when I didn't do it, and no one else is gonna do it. I had some categories where it worked out pretty good, but some categories, some people just didn't care, and some people were in 10 million categories in there. And that was pretty. Yeah, like they were overwhelmed by the categories. Just take 2 or 3 categories, or I took 4 because I know that I'm an expert in that, and I'm not able to do Caster of the Year or stuff like that, or something like that, because my opinion will be very biased. I try to go into categories where I can go in very objective in terms of facts and stuff like that. But people we're not really cooperating that much, I have to say. They only said okay, like in group works at school. That was my opinion. I mean, it was a lot of fun, but you need the right jury to really do the work, and that was not, in some categories, it was not the case.
Yeah. And now, the most important thing about this, I always said when I was a big part of it, I mean, I was essentially head of the jury for all the previous Trackmania awards. I was involved in, double digits of juries for all the years gone past. So I know what it's like. I'm not just shitting on people from the outside. I've been the person who's been, at the end of the day, writing up the text for every single one of the awards because, just because no one else was doing it. But the problem's always going to be, well, first of all, what I was meaning to say is I don't mean this in any way to discount any efforts people put in off of their own back. Still, people came in with this. People came in and attempted to help. They tried to give their, 5 cents and stuff like that. Whether it worked out well, whether it worked out not, I would still applaud these people for stepping up to the plate and actually fucking doing something. Instead of just being those people who sit on the outside and say, oh, this person should have got picked. These awards are this, these awards are that. No, these people actually stepped up to the plate. So I'll definitely give them credit where credit's due for that. However, the problem always comes into with awards like this. I mean, I'm very involved in it. I could probably give you a well-educated or at least a good guess at who would be relevant nominees for pretty much every award out there. That's just my involvement with it. Not everyone has that kind of involvement. Not everyone who applies to the jury has that kind of involvement. And that does put them at a disadvantage. So I can understand people feeling, a bit overwhelmed and things like that when it comes to it. But that is the problem when you basically say, look, for our jury, we'll just take open applications and then everyone gets in. If you want accurate awards and you want accurate nominees, you go out and get people. You go out and ask. Say, movie of the year, you go and ask movie makers to be part of your jury. Skinner of the year, you go and ask Skinners to be part of your jury. That's how you get as most accurate an award show, as nominees as possible. You ask experts, you get experts involved, and you take it from there. That's kind of how you set this up to become as big a part of that. But I mean, as Turbo was saying there, I mean, you can even have experts. You can have people who know what they're talking about. But you have people who, they'll be enthusiastic going into things. But when it comes down to, okay, now we need to type out, quite a lot of words for every one of the categories, some people shy away from that. And I guess I can't really hate on that too much because, I mean,
same.
I only end up doing it because no one else does. I mean, I'll do my part, obviously, but I only end up doing other people's parts just because it doesn't get done, So it's just that's just the way it is with group projects. Everyone's had it. Everyone knows what it's like.
Yeah.
But one of the biggest problems for me, so, fucking Scotty's rant hour. One of the biggest problems for me, and I think this was a massive, massive problem with Trackmania Awards 2020.
Leak.
Now, so we've talked a little bit about how the award show worked. The award show worked is that you had a certain amount of weight was given to the public and a certain amount of weight was given to the jury. So you had a very small amount of people wielding very large power when it came to votes. Now, 11 members of the jury voted for themselves or their own work. Now, let me give you guys a little bit of context for why I think this is a terrible, terrible thing, right? Now, as a member of the jury, you are trying to give as well-rounded and as well-educated a recipient of an award as possible. Now, if we roll ourselves back a few years, I've been involved in the award show for quite a long time. I've also been a caster for quite a long time. Now, the only time I've ever been involved in the Caster of the Year jury was when I actively excluded myself from being suggested or nominated. So when I was involved in the Caster of the Year, I basically said, look, I'll help out because I feel that I can lend a lot of expertise to this, but I do not want to be nominated because I feel that would be unfair. I would be lending my own sort of bias to that to essentially get myself nominated. However, even if I did do that, and even if I did get nominated, I would have no control over whether or not I would win that award. Now, because of the way this has worked, the jury has been able to attribute themselves some sort of weight to this, as in they've been able to pick their own nominations, and they've also been able to pick their own. They've also been able to pick who they believe would be able to receive the award as well. Now, that then became a massive problem when people were able to vote for their own work, vote for themselves to receive the award. Now, not everyone done that, but when you consider the 11 jury members voted for their own work, I think is disgusting. I think it's disgusting that they were allowed to do that, and I think it's disgusting that when they were allowed to do that, they done it anyway. And don't get me wrong, right? I understand that you have a certain amount of personal bias, right? I was a bit peeved off at not being considered for Caster of the Year this year by the Trackmania Awards. I didn't get mentioned by anyone publicly. I didn't get mentioned by anyone privately. Now, part of that is going to be me saying, look, I've done this, that, and the next thing, having objective reasons for why I think I should be part of it, but also subjective. I think I'm a fucking good caster. You know, I think I should have been nominated. Thank you. But besides that kind of point, I have that personal bias that I may think I'm better than other people might regard me because, you know, I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't think I was good at it. You know, that's just the nature of... You okay there?
Yeah, I just sneezed.
Yeah. But, like, Skinners are going to try and do their best work when they put it out there. Mappers are going to try and do their best work. So if they see themselves getting nominated, then they might think, fuck, that was really good work I done. I'm going to vote for it. So I do understand that to a certain extent. However, you also need to realise that is a massive conflict of interest. You know, that's fucking bananas to me. To consider it went from a point of, you know, although it pretty much was only me that done that since I was the only member of the jury that they nominated, that, you know, I actively excluded myself from even being a part of it because I recognised it was a conflict of interest. Yet you have people that not only influenced themselves getting picked for the nomination, but influenced themselves by receiving the awards themselves. I wanted to fucking tear my hair out. I couldn't believe that I was hearing this, and I thought, okay, I've heard it's possible. Maybe not a lot of people would have done it, but 11 times it happened. That's fucking disgusting to me. That's absolutely disgusting to me. And don't get me wrong, I weigh a big part of the blame to the Trackmania Awards staff for actually letting this happen. Like, sure, you want the jury to... It's hard because I see you're caught between a rock and a hard place, right? You have some awards where the community were massively influencing people who didn't deserve the award. I'm just going to go out and say, I don't give a fuck. You know, people who didn't deserve the award were getting massively inflated just because, you know, they're well known by the community. Now, I'm not saying this to denounce any of the work that people have done. You know, it's not in any way that people, if they were nominated, didn't deserve to be nominated. But let me give you guys an example, right? I'll fucking point elbows. I don't care. So, Kim got nominated for Content Creator of the Year. Now, to my knowledge, Kim has been involved in the most recent THS, which was fantastic work. You know, the holiday shootout, getting a lot of top players involved, cool format, nice cause, and all the rest of that. And now, I won't go into all of the work that all of these people have done, but to my knowledge, what was suggested in the nominations for Kim was that he'd been the main admin for Discord, and that he had been the proprietor of the spreadsheet which helped people keep track of the awards. Sorry, the Trackmania Grand League. Now, I don't know if I'm missing anything else out there, but Kim got the most votes publicly and got no votes through the jury. Now, if it was down to the public, Kim would have won that award in front of people like Phenom, who designed from the ground up pretty much a whole new server controller, which brought back things like custom nicknames, allowed some custom servers to actually fucking work in the first place. You know, people like Boss Bravo, who are pioneering complete new modes in the game with the likes of the Trackmania Formula League and such like this. People like Ozone, who are building up like websites, like, you know, adding so much more functionality to MX awards and the Trackmania Exchange and so on, the TM News and so on. Now, not to say in any way that out of all these categories that there's some people who deserve it a little bit more than others, but the way I would say it, I wouldn't have put Kim for winning that award. You know, that's just me going out and saying that. I think other people put in a lot more work to be deserving of the Content Creator of the Year. But Kim get the most votes publicly. So you've got that kind of rock and a hard place where if you do leave it open to the public, sometimes, you know, vote, you know, the map of the year, they'll vote for the map they remember, Midnight Metropolis. You know, they won't vote for maps they've not seen, they've not heard of, like Ghost, which got the most jury votes. That's how that goes. But How do you deal with this kind of rock and a hard place where you have, in some cases, the jury overwhelmingly voting for something and the public overwhelmingly vote for something? I mean, Map of the Year being a prime example. How do you deal with that? Well, still having this problem of these people voting for their own awards or their own entries.
It's hard, yeah, and I'm just noting down some things because I think it's a very important factor that you mentioned there. If you want to run a good award show, I mean, of course, it was the first time Trackmania News was running this award show, and the thing is, and it's also the thing that was the first quote kind of from Holdal. From Holdal's Trackmania Awards 2020 to just name the name of the show now. They just remember the things that are present, that are 2 months old or 1 month old. Let's just say it like that. They just remember those things, and they don't remember what happened on in January or something. So you have to create an archive or something like that just for the year to say, okay, we have this map, we have this map, we have this map. Those maps are good. You have to form award teams already now that people will become experts over this year, and not that everyone can kind of apply to the award scene. And apparently they can, like you said, they can go into their category and suggest themselves as being a nominee, and then also vote for them to give themselves extra 7% of the, or let's say just 3 or 4%. And we had people winning with that because of that. I'm not gonna name anyone here, but it's just pathetic if you think about that. How can you vote for yourself or do something like that? Hopefully you didn't include the match of the year for being my work. Hopefully you didn't do that, because I mean, I was discussing with so many people in the chat. I was asking so many people, and we were only 4 people, and I was like, guys, do you have any idea what should we do? And no one replied. And what can I do? Should I do research of other matches that I haven't seen? Or should I just check my matches that I have a little bit more in my mind? So it was really hard to judge that. I have to say that. It was super hard to do. And it was also a hard decision because it's subjective. And yeah, my opinion is create experts before that. If you want to create a little award show now, say, okay, this guy is responsible for match of the year, and have people not with 8 categories. What is that bullshit? How you want to cover 8 categories? That is completely ludicrous. Of course you can do that, but then you have to sacrifice your whole life for 2 or 3 days. I mean, I had 4, and this was almost impossible for me to do it in time, you know? And
that's 16 ones.
Yeah, just think about that. Your microphone is a bit weird right now, actually. So just say, okay, you have 3 categories. Let's say me, I go for, let's say, match of the year, amateur or pro player of the year. And I don't know, just create experts that are becoming experts over the year, and not take people who are just saying, okay, spontaneously, I want to do Trackmania Awards. I mean, I could have also been in the let's say streamer of the year category, but I did that category myself, and people brought up my name, and I completely dismissed that because I think it would have not been correct. Just, I mean, I'm not streamer of the year, and people deserve it way more than I do. And I mean, other categories didn't work out that well. Let's take, for example, standout player of the year and non-Trackmania 2020 player of the year. I think those are the categories which were a little bit weird for me. Also, who won there? I mean, I haven't seen something like that. And nominating 2 Kenyan players, I mean, yeah, wasn't one enough? I mean, that was my think-wise of that. Maybe they have thought about that more. But you need also experts from. Let's take.
Okay.
I have covered. Let's say those matches, but on the other hand, it is Geek covering those matches. So Geek should be in the jury, if you ask me. So you have to create experts that are going from all ways, and then you need to create a sort of presentation. What happened there? How should we declare what is match? And from that, you should vote to that, to say, okay, this match is better because of that and that. You need to give reasons and not to just vote. You know, you have to give reasons because this match is better now. I'm just taking it from that standpoint. You need to define it beforehand. So that is my kind of theory for that. But I mean, it's a topic that is very subjective and very controversial. Not sure if you want to add something to that. And also, another point is when you are nominated, let's say I think the most part is like movie or movie maker of the year. You completely overlook the effort that others have put into those things. Let's say a standout player or amateur player. You completely miss out that other people have put more effort or the same effort as you into that. You're always thinking you have done that because you don't have that outside view of yourself. So it should not be a person, my opinion, to be eligible to vote for himself as the jury if he's nominated. That's completely out. He should not vote for himself. Not. And I just didn't. I was nominated for Caster of the Year, but I didn't even vote for my own vote because I just wanted to see what people are doing. Because I think it's pathetic voting for myself or for anyone else in that category.
Yeah.
Just let people decide.
It's one of those things, right? You always, as I was saying previously, you'll always look upon yourself with a little bit more bias. And
yes.
Also, there was a little bit of a rant done privately about it in the sense when one of the staff members of Trackmania Awards kind of looked through what the jury had voted when it actually came through to the awards. And you had people who were like, you were voting for a specific person for a specific awards who happened to be a moderator for that person's Twitch channel. You know, you had people who voted for, you know, specific things that they were directly involved in. You know, so there's two sides to this, obviously. There's just simply personal bias in the sense that that you're putting down yourself because you want to win. But there's also people, and here's where I can understand it a little bit. Right?
Yeah.
Now, I'll give an example of Caster of the Year again. So I would have thought that I would have been relevant to have been mentioned because I know I've done so many different tournaments this year, but I could list off the tournaments I've done this year. Not everyone else can. You know, say, I don't know, fucking an example. No, I'll not mention any jury members. But say Turbo is part of the jury for Caster of the Year. Turbo might not know everything I've done. So he might think, oh, maybe someone else deserves this a little bit more because, you know, he knows the events that he's done. Maybe he follows this person a little bit more. So I do get that. You know, I do get that. But you also need to hold a part of this with, you know, a big amount of responsibility. And I thank House of Tales there for the vote of confidence in myself. Although, you know, I know there's a severe amount of bias there and he'd vote for me no matter what. But, because I love him, you know. But anyway.
Love you too, man.
But anyway, we talk about the personal bias. Now, the other side of this, I think, is the most important thing when it comes down to this is responsibility. Now, I showed responsibility by excluding myself from even being considered when I had that conflict of interest there. You shown that when you refused even to vote for yourself, refused to even push yourself forward for that, regardless of whether you think you're deserving for this, that, or the next thing. I mean, it's okay putting a public vote down when your vote's one within thousands, you know, but not when you're the person who's essentially having, you know, as you're saying there, 7% of a vote. We had awards getting decided by that. Now,
non-Trackmania 2020 Player of the Year.
Yeah, I'll call it out. I don't give a fuck. So you had non-Trackmania Player of the Year. Now I'll give you guys an example for this. So Sander had second place with 27.94% of the vote, right? 77 public votes, 3 jury votes. Morpheo ended up winning that for 118 public votes and 2 jury votes. Now, I can't see exactly who voted for what, but Morpheo is a member of that jury. Now, if he has voted for himself, he has made himself win that award. If he didn't vote for himself, he would not have won that award. Okay? Now,
and look at Lars. Lars is a member of the jury as well.
Yeah, and Lars has no jury votes. You know, that's the way it should have been. Don't get me wrong, I don't know if Morpheo voted for himself, so I'm not going to start shitting all over Morpheo. If I find out that he has voted for himself, you know, boo. I don't give a fuck what he's done for, you know, the rest of this. I don't like that at all, personally. But regardless, I don't think it's fair that we, you know, keep bashing, you know, all everything that's happened. Instead, I would kind of suggest a way that we can move forward for this. You know, first of all, let's talk Trackmania Awards need to fucking happen. We need to show everyone how it's done next year. Second of all, I propose a way of dealing with this, right? Now, people complain about winners all the time. Oh, this person should have won, that person should have won. What I propose this year, because there's always, especially when it comes to very close awards, people who deserve it, People who deserve it, and it's just becoming what one person thinks might deserve it a little bit more. Another person thinks they might deserve it a little bit more. Instead of having Caster of the Year and having 4 people being nominated, and then you need to just essentially do eeny, meeny, miny, mo to figure out who the fuck actually won it, Instead of doing that, have your 4, get to the stage where you have your 4 nominees and say, right, they are the casters of the year. Simple as that. You get your 4 awards together. Your 4 events together. They are the events of the year for 2021. You get your standout players. These are the standout players of the year 2021. That's it. Just you draw a line under it, We're not in the place, especially for a lot of these little things, where the public can be trusted. I mean, I love you guys that watch our podcast, but some of you, when it comes to voting for stuff like this, I mean, you kind of need to take a step back and think, like, hold the phone. And
am I eligible to vote? That's what you mean. That's I have made up my mind from that.
Yeah. Now, let me just be very clear about this. So when I was going through picking who I think would be who I think should receive the awards, I would get to Mapper of the Year and think, right, okay, never played 7, I've never played Satellite Delivery, I've never played Elgon, I've seen Ghost, and I know of Midnight Metropolis. So naturally, I would be thinking, fuck it, I'll vote Midnight Metropolis. I did actually look into it a little bit more,
You
fair enough.
The maps.
But that's your first instinct. That's your first instinct to then just pick what catches your eye the most. Some people don't push into it that little bit more, and I think
they should be.
That's always going to be the problem with public votes. Jury votes were, on the whole, they were relatively solid, but the main problems for that, as I was saying, just kind of recapping things here, main problem is that 11 fucking members of the jury voted for themselves, or in 11 instances, jury members voted for their own projects. Fucking despicable. And secondly, jury members who may not have known as much, or how jury members were making some questionable choices, as we'll say, specifically the one which hyped Eric up quite a lot. Now, whether you agree with this or not, let's just have a laugh and kind of point this out. But we talk about the Holdal Awards, of which the Player of the Year was Carl Jr. Now, when you look at the jury for Player of the Year in the Trackmania Awards, Carl Jr., I believe, got the least votes. So Carl Jr. got 1 jury vote, Gwen got 2, Pat got 2, and Aurel got 2. Now, that's weird to me, I'm not going to lie, but what can you do about that,
People need to understand why, though. I mean, yes, I mean, of course. So I was on the jury. It was very controversial, this Player of the Year vote, right?
Well, I mean, according to Eric, yes.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit exaggerated, if you ask me, from Eric's side. Because, I mean, you have to take into consideration the whole piece of that. Of course, Carl Jr. has won Trackmania Grand League, the most prestigious events. But then you also have to see what Aurel did in this year, playing all small events and winning them. And also Gwen just stomping everyone, Peck being the best tech player. So yeah, I can understand Eric, but I think only because Carl Jr. only has received 1 vote. I think that's not, it's not an argument that counts for me, if you ask me. It's way too exaggerated. And there you can see, again, maybe the biasness, if this is a word, from the bias from people. Because I think I voted for, I would have said Peck and Gwen for me, because Peck just playing super well on tech, being the best tech player out there, and Gwen just being Gwen. And then after that, it's Carl Jr. But it's only my preference how I see a complete player, I see that Gwen is better than Carl Jr. in my eyes. And I see that Peck is the best tech player in my eyes. That's my opinion. And I think the vote like that, actually, when I saw that, I was really happy with that, because it showed us that Peck and Aurel are there and they are good players. And also Carl Jr. is still on that deserved second place, and Gwen is just on another level. That was my opinion about that. So I think it worked out pretty well. But that's just my opinion, and opinions differ, of course.
Yeah, I think that's also one of the biggest parts of these kind of awards, that you're always going to end up having arguments about who you feel deserves it more, who you should have been nominated, who you feel should have won, because you feel differently about things, because you look at things from a different standpoint than someone else. Eric will value big award performances. He'll value, big name performances. However, you may value, say, 20 small event wins over 2 big event wins, for example. It all depends on how you do
that.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying you would do that, of course, but it's just in the sense that some people might look at it and see it that way. Some people might say, I value this more than what you value.
That's fine, but I think you should not exaggerate it that much, because I think other categories went way worse than ours did. And Eric is Eric is in the chat actually. Of course you're listing the big events, but I mean, there's always different opinions about that, and I think it's fine, but it's, I think, not fine to tweet it out 5 times, if you ask me, and to kind of put the jury into some sort of let's say weird way, because I don't know, Carl Jr. is second eventually, and it's no reason to really not disrespect us, but that was a little bit rude in my way, or from my perception. I was like, okay, what did I do wrong? We were really thinking about that, and I think that was the jury that worked out the best, the jury I was into, and I think it was not fine to deal with that way, because I always say, if you want to change something about that, you can join the jury, and we of course had a lot of a lot of responsibility, as Scotty said, but I think that's how the vote should be, actually. Gwen, Carl Jr., Pac, Aurel, percentage doesn't matter, if you ask me, just positions.
Now, I suppose we can kind of sweep that a little bit under the rug for now, so we don't end up spending hours and hours talking about the Trackmania Awards. But one a little point there, Raveout kind of put just there, is that, for next year's awards, we should have Drama of the Year. And I suppose an early contender for that in 2021, I suppose it kind of, kicked off quite a good bit before that. I mean, besides Trackmania Awards. But has been the recent kind of controversy regarding nicknames in Trackmania. Now, can you give us a little bit of a background on what this problem is, Turbo, and why it's coming to light, if you wouldn't mind?
Yeah, so, okay, every good drama, as you all know, starts on Twitter. Yeah. So you have no Twitter. Make sure to follow everyone who's involved in dramas. Usually it's the Nadeo stuff, or I mean, you seeing it when some people are in that. I mean, I didn't follow it to the fullest, but at one point I was like, why are you disabling the comment section? I was like, I'm not sure what happened there, but I think he was just doing a tweet. I didn't even read it through, but it's about nicknames, and yeah, it's the old controversy, why nicknames are not in the game and why they were in the beta. So I have to search it out. I think it was Derek posting it, if I recall it correctly. But maybe you can give us a little bit more insight of it, because I just didn't know how much he said about that. So I have to do some research here.
Sure. Well, in the meantime, while Turbo's looking that up, essentially the controversy has came around since the game came out, in the sense that there has been the ability to customize your nickname in pretty much every iteration of the game, with the exception, of Trackmania Turbo, which I believe was implemented a little bit later on through some kind of third-party applications. However, was not possible in the new game, and you were only able to change your name through the Uplay launcher, which offered very limited capabilities, and it generally was not what people expected, not what people were used to. People were used to featuring, elaborate clan tags, having very specific kind of designs in their name. It had a lot of kind of freedom of creation, so to speak, when it came to making their nicknames up in Trackmania. I mean, I remember back in the day, of course, spending a little bit of time in the nick editors and so on, just making some monstrosity up to go and play in public servers on, or when you get your new clan tag with all the fancy color codes and all the rest of that, it's a bit of a feel good. But anyway, the problem was that when the new game was released, the new game had no functionality to be able to do this. However, what was reported, now this was reported and never confirmed, despite my attempts to get clarification on it, despite everyone else's attempts to get clarification on it, reportedly, this was a feature that was working when the game was in its beta stages. Now, I'd heard rumours that, for example, Miss or one of the members of the beta had essentially developed some sort of functionality to be able to add this to the game, and it was denied by the powers that be, say Hillis, whoever the fuck it is that makes the decisions, I don't know. This possibility was actively denied, so it was able to be implemented and was denied. That's something I've heard. I've also heard, from the other side of things, that there's a lot of reasons as to why, say it's a moderation reason. They don't want people copying each other's nicknames and all the rest of that. Imposters and all the rest of it. Impersonation. They don't want things like that. There's been a lot of different stories being floated around, and only now, coming into the very start of January, very end of December, I don't know exactly when, only then did the issue kind of flare up as the community's kind of been asking this question on the low key for 6 months. They've been asking this question for 6 months. In the same kind of way that people are asking questions about the acceleration penalty. They're asking these questions all the time. It's just you may not notice them as much. I'll go onto Twitter and I'll see a post a day about the acceleration penalty. Before I'd see a post a day about the nicknames. That's just the way it's been. However, only now have we received proper clarification. Before, at least a month ago, the only information we had was that it was not planned. Now, have you managed to do your research? Are you caught up to speed? What's your thoughts so far?
I mean, I got a little bit overwhelmed when I was seeing 33 quoted retweets. Or no, 32, I'm sorry. And I mean, it is... Yeah, I mean, the arguments are a little bit weird because they want to create a homogeneous UI or homogeneous. Is it pronounced like that? Yeah, sorry. I was thinking about genius. So
got your back.
They wanted to do that, and I think that's a completely weird argument. I mean, you have this in all the other games. Why not in... Do you have that in Turbo? No, you don't have that in Turbo as well. But in all the other games, you have that. And I think it's weird why they didn't add that, because impersonating, you could also done that in the other games. That is such a bullshit argument, if you ask me. That is like, okay, we just need an argument. Okay, impersonation. Okay, then we also should do that. We should also forbid nicknames in the other games, because you don't know every login. Some people have weird logins. My login is Kai Ludwig in Trackmania United. Who would have known that I am Turbo, who didn't know my login? I could also impersonate someone. That is always the case, but you see it and you will actually know it. And I think it's a weird argument for me. And then also easier to moderate. Okay, I can understand that, but for what do you have this? Yeah, you have a server plugin where you see the names with the login behind that, with the 32 character login, and reserving it to Nadir internally. Why? I mean, it's part of the Trackmania Grand League. I'm not sure why they don't want to do it in the game, and it brings some more vividness into the game, so the game feels more alive, if you ask me. Because now I'm on a server. Let's say Cup of the Day. I want to check who's on my server. I have no clue because there are so many people. I cannot recognize all of them. Let's say I want to search out, let's say, I don't know, someone with a team. Let's say, Team Secret Avon. I would have looked into the, I think, black tag from Secret to see if he's on there. And then I could have seen if he's on there or not. But now I have to search for Poland, and then I cannot find him, and it's just a bad thing because it gets a little bit more anonymous again. And in a way that it's not even anonymous. So it's a little bit of paradox, but I think this should come definitely back, especially with clan tags and stuff like that. It's really important.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, looking at this argument, first of all, I do agree to the sense where some people were saying it had been blown quite a little bit out of proportion. You know, people were getting very, very worked up about this. Now, part of this, I believe, comes back to where it comes down to causing some of the problems and the way that this information was presented. Okay, now, to give you guys a kind of idea of what my problem is with this whole situation, I've always got a problem with situations. You guys know me by now. We're 26 episodes deep. You know me, guys. But anyway, my problem with the situation is that you look at this. This was a question people had for 6 months. Okay, they'd never received a possible. I'd reached out to Nadal personally, and the only response I got is that we don't want to give you a response. Basically, that was the only response I got when I was trying to find out this information. Either no response or a response that is basically no response. Anyway, so my problem with this is that how I thought it should be dealt with was how it was dealt with by someone who was not even part of Nadeo. John the Killer, Draconia admin, was a big part of the beta process, comes up and clears up the situation like that in seconds. 2 tweets, very concise, all the information you need. This is why it wasn't there. This is why it was there in the beta. This is why it isn't there now. He comes up and he tells you that immediately. Problem solved. We know why it's not here. We know why it was there. And there you go. Regardless of anything you would look at behind that, John the Killer cleared it up as fast as you would like. Don't get me wrong. It could have been cleared up much earlier. However, that's not his responsibility. He's not part of the fucking development team. You know, he's just a guy that happened to know how it worked, you know? So definitely credit to him. But then you have people, I'll not say people, you have someone like Derek, who is a representative of Nadeo in some sort of form, who's coming out and is kind of laying these little seeds, so to speak, saying, first of all, it's not planned. Again, I don't know if it was him that said it wasn't planned, but Nadeo have came out and said, it's not planned. People were asking for... You know, that then resulted in people asking, why is it not planned? But never got the answers to why was it not there in the first place. Never put down any of the kind of murmurings people were saying of why was it working before and it's not working now. Never put that down. Never put down all of these kind of different things that people were saying. Never answered any of these questions. Only after John had then came out and put all this stuff out was... you know, it finally actually cleared up by a member of Nadeo as well, essentially just piggybacking onto whatever John had said. And it really, do you know what really annoyed me about this? It really, really frustrated me about this, as Derek was coming on and replying to people on Twitter, you guys should find something else to complain about. You know, you guys should really stop complaining about this. Like, fuck off. Oh my God, I couldn't believe I was seeing this. You know, right enough that this isn't, you know, coming out from an Adeo account telling people to stop complaining. But, I mean, I can say from at least dealing with this guy in the past, this isn't a guy who should be publicly answering questions and dealing with shit for Nadeo. I think he's shown through that and through this that he should not be publicly dealing with people in regards to Nadeo-related issues, right? I've had that issue with him privately when I've tried to deal with him because he's came out and said all these sort of things, so I thought, oh fuck, he must be dealing with it then. Tried to discuss it with him privately, and he's just shat on my head, basically. So, you know, fuck dealing with that guy privately. And then coming out and seeing him making a mockery of people wanting to know why they've removed a feature from the game that they treasured. You know, they treasured being able to keep their own nicknames. They treasured being able to have their individuality. And he's coming out and saying, you know, yeah, you guys should find something else to complain about. Like, that guy should find another fucking job if he's going to start acting like that, you know? Like,
that's such a weird argument, yeah.
That's something you leave to community managers. That's something you leave to representatives who are actually going to consider, what? I don't know if the community will like the way we put it like this. No, let's just go and make fun of them. That really fucking pissed me off when I seen this guy just making fun of people for having a problem with how this game is being dealt with, so to speak. So, yeah, that was my primary problem for this whole situation. I mean, if Nadeo don't want custom nicknames, honestly, I don't really care. I mean, I would prefer to have custom nicknames. I think it would be a nice thing. I see a lot of the reason. I see a lot of the things they put out about the reasons there was not public nicknames. I wouldn't say there were reasons. They look more like excuses, to be honest. It kind of reminds me of the way you said it, in the sense that it looks as if, someone in a fucking boardroom has basically said, right, we need potential reasons so that we can tell the community why we don't have custom nicknames. And people have just started rattling out shit that has never caused an issue in Trackmania. Impersonations never caused an issue in Trackmania. Moderation. What moderation? I know of one person in the history of Trackmania that has been banned. And that is it. Apart from cheaters, of course. Cheaters do,
Who has been banned then, by the way?
Milmy was banned once. Okay? Yeah.
That's such a Milmy thing.
Yeah. And he wasn't permanently banned. It was a temporary ban. I believe Milmy was banned. But what moderation? They don't, at least through the previous games, there was no moderation. You'd submit a community report and nothing would happen. The same kind of thing there. But the only reason I'll accept is if it's not possible. Okay? If you cannot implement it into the game, and it's not possible to implement in the game, that's the only reason I would really see for this. That's the only reason I would see for someone being for the nicknames not to be added to the game. I'm just waiting to see. Honestly, if I'm kind of thinking this will happen, but I'm thinking they'll add in this kind of clan tag or this kind of nickname customization that people are thinking about as a club feature. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen. As it's going to get held back, and then we're going to say, oh, by the way, we're finally adding this into the game, but you're going to need to pay fucking €30 a year for it. That's what I think.
Yeah, just because of oh man, it worked out. And why you do it for a club? Who's using the club feature? For me,
that's why they'll put it for a club.
Yeah, because no one will buy it. It's the club feature has one good thing. You can see the times from the persons who are in the club. And then you can play against them, against your subscribers, against whoever, and it's I'm like, why are you doing that? The club feature. It has so much potential. And it's there and no one uses it anymore. I have my club, but I don't know when the last time was when I used it. Of course, you have a place that everything is in one place. Let's say a campaign or stuff. It's really cool for that, but it has so much potential to actually go for. It has so much potential. And with the arguments in here, I can also go quickly over that, but I don't want to do that because you already did that. But this thing is in the game forever. Like a little bit of a word game with Trackmania Nations forever. Okay, I just stopped. But it's in there, It was in there. It was never a problem. You said that. Why should it be a problem in the new game? It's bringing a lot of good things in there, like new names, and you always know who's there at some point. You see the tag and okay, this could be this, and this player. Or you just see, you just see the name and you're like, okay, it's this guy. He's good or he's bad or he's a tech player. He's a dirt player. He's this player. He's that player. It adds so much more individuality. Is that a word? To the game. Yes. And I have no idea why you shouldn't implement that to the game.
Yeah. Here's the thing, right? It's really hard to look at how to deal with this situation. Now, first of all, as I said, my main problem is this: if it's a problem, right, and if it's a problem you want to deal with, as in Nadil want these people to stop fucking asking questions about it. First of all, you need to deal with it the right way. You don't send fucking plums like Derek in telling people to stop complaining. That's not working. Okay, you need to have your people who are clearly have a much more deft hand in dealing with the community. People who are putting a lot more consideration into their words that they are using to go into the community and explain why. Because the whole, it seems to me that Nadeo for years, and it still seems to be the same, where it's kind of smoke and mirrors. You know, they won't answer these questions, you know, or at least if they do, they won't answer it clearly. You know, we were always trying to find information about Trackmania 2. You know, is this happening? Is that happening? We wouldn't find out. You know, we want to ask these questions about acceleration penalties. We want to ask these questions about this, that, and next.
That has become a meme. Acceleration penalty. I mean, you see posts on Twitter, acceleration penalty, and the command is acceleration penalty.
Yeah, I mean, we see a lot of things like this, right? But it cannot go back, because don't get me wrong, there was a period of time where they were very good at dealing with this, in the sense that you would have Hillis come out going through, a big long sheet of what things were planned, how the kind of development roadmap's going. That's good. That's what we need. We need, if this is becoming a trend that people have a specific problem, then someone comes out and deals with it. Either it's your figurehead, Hillis, comes out and deals with it. It's your community manager, Tona, comes out and deals with it. It's your, I wouldn't know her official role, but your community liaison, Phoebe, comes out and deals with it. You know, deals with it in the correct way. If it's that we do not plan to have custom nicknames as part of the game, you know, you need, especially in this situation when it's becoming such a big movement, you can't just hide behind smoke and mirrors anymore nowadays. You know, community manager is Tona, it's not Phoebe, by the way. You can't just hide behind smoke and mirrors and these kind of phrases that are just going to keep people guessing, you know, because you're not going to stop people asking those questions if you don't give them a proper answer. You know, it's the same way with the acceleration penalty. If you just don't answer them, you're not going to stop them asking. And it's like they made a big deal about it a while ago, in the sense that they were not happy with how the community was, in some cases, aggressive, was very negative about how these sort of situations were getting dealt with. And I think this is a perfect example of how they're shooting themselves in the foot. When a situation comes up like this that they are well within their capabilities to deal with, they don't. You know, they just let it fester. They let the community fester. They let the community grow unhappy, grow resentful, to grow outraged at situations like this when they continually do not receive an answer. When it comes to December, January, and people are finally getting their answers as to why the Trackmania name customization isn't a thing, despite all of the contrary, you know, points they might have had, like, you know, it works in, like, say, a fucking Chinese version or some crap like that. I don't know, but you need to. Someone needs to take a step back and look at this situation. You know, someone needs to take a step back at Nadeo and really revise their approach. In my opinion, really kind of start to nail things down, because I mean, I think that when I saw about this. When I saw about this problem happening, it's same with the acceleration penalty. Don't get me wrong, there's some people you're never going to please, right? Doesn't matter how if you change the acceleration penalty, pardon me, change the acceleration penalty, there'll be someone happy it's been changed. You put nicknames on. I mean, Eric put up a poll.
Yeah.
I think it was 75% of people or more wanted the nickname functionality restored. However, 25% of people either were no or indifferent. I can't remember what the phrase. Anyway, some people might not be happy about it. 92%, holy shit. 92% wanted it back. There's always
Jesus,
people
that's
that
a lot.
aren't happy, you know? But they need to deal with these situations correctly, in the sense. So, even for nothing else, so that, you know, we don't have these situations in at 6 months' time where the community's complaining that, you know, Nadeo never listens, that Nadeo doesn't care, because that's going to start again. I guarantee you that's going to start again if this is a trend that we're going to see being followed. You know, if people are feeling like they're being ignored, if people are feeling like they're not being cared about, now as I've always been the advocate of that's not to say that that's the case. That's not to say that Nadeo doesn't care. That's not to say that Nadeo isn't listening. But when they are not showing people that they are listening, when they are not answering some of the issues that a mass of people are raising, and it's just one of those things that they're backing themselves into a corner again, you know. And if the same way that if they're going to try and get themselves out of it in the same way, in the sense of just saying, if they're going to start complaining about the attitude of the community and so on, it's there's only so many times that's going to work, in my opinion.
So, firstly, Tona is actually an old school United player, so he's in the community for a long time. He was also very good on that. So, he is in the community, but maybe he's a little bit on a niche community, so maybe you know him from there. And you know what I hate? So, to just go on that topic, you know what I hate? And that's what when I opened it, I almost loved. I hate arguments on Twitter. That is so childish, kind of, that people are starting arguments there, and that also Nadeo is responding to that. Of course, they are like a little bit in that responsibility, so this goes from both ways. But what you need is an open hour where 2 or 3 people represent the community and talk about that's what we want, that's what we think is best for the game, and also that the Nadeo community fully understands what people want in the game and what is going right, what is going on, what is working, and stuff like that. And you need to communicate and not communicate over Twitter. That is bad, just saying it like that. You really need an open hour, and you need people who talk to the community, who have an open eye for that, who can be DM'd or stuff like that, and they can bring up the topics here. And I think those are really important topics, actually. So I think, let's just say the vote from Eric. You can clearly see that people want those nickname backs. There is no doubt about that. Why shouldn't they add it when that's... I don't get that, Just listen to the community. That's the only point of develop the game really works for me. What do you think about that idea? Having people as a kind of ambassador to speak to and represent the community to the Nadeo stuff.
Well, I mean, that's a nice idea, but it all kind of depends upon what impact they're going to have. Because let's look back upon when the community has had quote unquote ambassadors. Was the beta phase? The community had specific members which were involved in the feedback process of the game in the early stage of its kind of release process, so to speak. So we're talking back in, kind of April, March, April, May, that kind of thing, and kind of take it from there. And straight away from there, a lot of the jury members were complaining that they didn't feel like they were being jury members. Sorry, getting confused with Trackmania words. A lot of the beta testers were complaining how they felt they weren't being listened to, how that they felt that their considerations weren't being taken. Don't get me wrong, in some cases it has happened positively, and that's been a good thing. But we've had situations like this before, and it's not worked out. And at least by what we hear, it's not worked out because of the Nadeo side. The Nadeo side, kind of letting down their side of the bargain. So, again, it's always the kind of bias of course, it's always these people that are telling us it, so it might not be that way. It might just be that that's the only kind of people we hear, which you always kind of need to be careful with when you're dealing with these sort of situations. Is it just because we don't hear Nadeo's side of the story doesn't mean they're always in the wrong, of course. However, I mean, when that's the only side of the story you hear, there's not really much you can do about that. But I think this situation could do with people having, this was something I addressed, I don't know, fucking 20 podcasts ago. The main problem that needs to be dealt with, and has always had to be dealt with, is that people need to see that they're being listened to. They need to see that they're being cared about. it's like I remember I had some sort of kind of, you know, wild kind of fucking example for this, but it's like you look at it this way: if Nadeo just kind of come along every now and then and put on Twitter or have their, you know, representatives come on, yeah, we care about the community, we listen to the community and so on, and then the rest of what you see is them not listening or examples. Now I'll put that in quotations because, you know, that this is just a situation, an isolated situation. But you'll see a case where the Nadeo is not listening to the community. That's the way it looks. Say the Trackmania Grand League point system. You know, they may have listened to the community and all the community had to say about changing the points systems, but they may have then decided not to go for it for X, Y, and Z reasons. But instead of coming out to the community and saying, look, we listened to everything that you that you had to say about the point system. However, we do not want to implement it. Didn't even get that. You just got, we're not, you know, here's the new rules, or someone checks the rules, it's not changed, so on and so forth. Then you don't even get that. What you should be getting is someone come out and saying, look, by the way, for this season of our biggest tournament, I believe, we have came to the conclusion that we're going to keep the existing point system because of this. There you go. You know, that deals with that problem where people feel like they're being listened to, and that gives people your arguments so people feel like you're engaging with them. You know, you're not just telling them this is how it's going to be. You're engaging with them, even if it isn't a disagreement, so to speak. People are entitled to their disagreements, but it feels like you're throwing all this information, all these kind of complaints, all these requests, all these suggestions one way, and you're getting radio silence. So you don't know if they're listening. You don't know if they care because you don't see it. And that's what Nadeo needs to really take care of here. Nadeo need to show you that they care. Nadeo need to show you that they're listening. Otherwise, you're going to have a growing wave of resentment that's not going to be able to be tamed. That's just going to be the way it's going to be.
Yeah, well said there. I mean, and we're living in the age, and also I think Rafe is saying that we are living in 2021 and not in 1995. We are able to change things. You see it with the matchmaking. Just there's a matchmaking button. Boom. Then you can do, there is a customization for your nickname. You can just do that in the settings. That is no problem. And those are not major changes. And also acceleration penalty. I don't think that this is a huge thing to deal with. And we really have to get listened to, else this game will go extinct. As you said, maybe even in the first, in the second year, so the second starting year, we don't know. So actually, I think it's a topic that is controversial again. But I think this displays again how we have been not treated by Nadeo, but how Nadeo is like communicating with us, and this has to change. And we had that in some podcasts again, or we had that already. And I think, this has to change, and things have to happen what the community wants. I don't really see that as a good thing, that people are or that we are getting treated like that. Let's say like that. And I would say that we swap to the next topics. Maybe I think that's also a controversial topic here on the menu. Yesterday's Cup of the Day. Maybe you have seen it. Have you seen it or not?
I'm not familiar, unfortunately. First I heard about this was you writing it.
Okay, I think it was Massa. So again, a good drama starts on Twitter, of course. I think Massa posted something like in a comment section like, yo, can you vote in the Cup of the Day? So voting for restart, voting for skip and stuff like that. But yesterday was a very cool track. It was a Trackmania Turbo map that was, of course, played in stadium with a lot of dirt and stuff like that. It was pretty long. And all of a sudden in the Division 1, Massa voted for a restart in the Cup of the Day. And it actually went through. The restart vote went through. And then we had every player, like let's say Granadi, who went out in like top 50, could play again. And then it was top 2, restart vote again. No one won. The whole match started again. Number 3, again at top 2, restart vote again. This continued for 2 hours, and fortunately I was not in Division 1, but that was so weird. And yeah, I mean, now people try to like point out people with Massa doing the votes, and also like I think Granadi for doing something, I don't know, but you have to point out the developers here. How can you enable votes in Cup of the Day? I mean, that is something that doesn't go into my mind. And yeah, I don't know, man. Well, what do you think from just saying that to you?
Well, I mean, yeah. Now that I kind of hear about it, I think it's just it's been very simply one of these kind of leftover things that just been left there. It's to me, it's a very simple mistake. Shit like that happens sometimes. I'm sure it will have been fixed for this Cup of the Day. So I don't look too badly down upon them. What I would mostly look down upon in that kind of sense is your people like Massa, who then come on and start all this, restarting it all the time and all the rest of that. That's the people I would kind of look to. Like, it kind of reminds me of the conversation we had when we were talking about the nominees and the jury for the Trackmania Awards. Is that sure? It's been a problem that is there in the first place, but you can know about that problem and deal with it in the right way. You can know about that problem and decide, okay, I'm not going to abuse this. Like, he was equally able to do that, but no, he decided to fuck over the Cup of the Day. And for what? For fucking Twitter clout or stream clout?
I don't know why people did that.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, there's always going to be those kind of people that if it can happen, they'll do it, But again, we go back to when you're talking someone who now has quite a big influence on people in Trackmania, leading the way with doing shit like that. I think it's just time. I would lay, especially if Massa's the one that started it off and he's been streaming and he showed people, oh, you can restart and blah blah blah. It's been funny and so on. I would be quite. I wouldn't be very happy with that, to be honest. I would be. I mean, he's ruined Cup of the Day, and for what?
Yeah, for nothing. True. And I also thought that this is like, why are you doing that? Just because he went out? And it's just a bad mentality. Of course, it's a flaw from Adeo not fixing it immediately, but I think when this happened, what can they do about that? So it's like a weird thing. And yeah, I don't know. I would have voted actually F2. I mean, just because I went out and stuff like that, and I want a good Cup of the Day. But of course, people wanted to play, and I don't know. And maybe people also voted F1 because of curiosity. What happens? What will happen in that case? And I can understand that F1 vote from people to say, okay, what happens when I vote F1? Do I get a trophy?
Yeah.
Don't I get a trophy? I can understand that. But I think it's something that shouldn't be in there at first place. But as you said, you can overlook the simplest things. And this is, completely fine.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I do. There is definitely an Adeo at fault in the fact that is possible in the first place. Definitely an Adeo at fault in the first place. But, I mean, you can't just then say, okay, well, it's there. So, why would Massa even try it in the first place?
True.
I mean, sure, there's curiosity in that kind of sense. So what will happen if I do this? But it's in the same way where if you're at a LAN event, you don't go up and just fucking shove someone's chair while they're playing just to see what will happen. You don't
see what happens.
You don't do that. Like it might be funny if you're fucking filming it or whatever, or I want to see whether it'll crash or not, but you don't do that. That's the way I look. It might be possible because of the design of chairs, but you don't do it.
Yeah, and maybe the player is in a good mood to see that one coming. I don't know. I see that point. And I mean, another controversy adding up to that. Just wanted to name that because I think Cup of the Day is one of the things that, besides some of server crashes that can also happen, shouldn't happen, but they can happen, and now the restart, I think that this format is really good to just give you, it's not negative here, it can happen, and it's of course not the main issue of Nadeo. They can overlook us, but the community has to kind of behave, but I can understand an F1 vote, but not for the second or third time after that. Just my opinion. Yeah. And also, maybe a small topic that I wanted to talk is Trackmania Grand League maps that have come out. I think 2 days ago or 3 days ago, they were coming out, and I've already played them. Maybe you've seen them as well.
Yep. Yeah. Trackmania Grand League maps came out. A lot of different mappers are involved in this. And I will say I've had a very positive kind of first impression of them, which I was going into this as well with the campaign and thinking, right, it's winter, it's going to be fucking ice everywhere, all the rest of that kind of crap. And I was really put off. And I'm really glad I did actually decide to try out the maps, Trackmania Grand League maps. And I'm very interested. I'm encouraged almost to play more, I'm
Same.
looking forward to trying them in Open Grand League, I'm getting that little feeling, but yeah, we'll see.
Well.
We'll see how that. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I think it's they're very good. They're maps with identities which seemingly very well thought out. Don't seem to be very focused on anything RNG at all. Pardon me. Yeah, I'm pretty. There's only some parts of the map that I'm like, I'm a bit meh when I'm going through them. I'm not really liking these parts as much. But considering that's all I have to complain about, then they're decent maps, I must say.
Yeah, same for me, and also the length is pretty good. I mean, I played, I think, map 5 or 6 with the bug slide identity, where you had to jump into the dirt slope, and then there's a bug slide ending up. And I learned this map so fast, and it felt so good to drive. You really could see, okay, there's the gear, I need to capture that. There's a nose slide, there I have to go there. And for me, like as an experienced player, maybe you had that as well. I really seen that one, and this map felt so good to play. A little bit like season 1 of Trackmania Grand League, where the maps were very well for me as well. And I'm also getting this feeling that you were talking about. I want to play more. I want to get into that. Besides, of course, my study that is going on. But yeah, I think also with the new format that the top 20 is qualifying to the little combine, to the final before the combine, that also motivates me a little bit more. And I will definitely give it a shot. But besides the Trackmania Grand League, we also had the campaign coming out, and you were speaking about that a little bit. I have mixed feelings about the campaign, actually, because the maps are kind of remixes between the summer and the fall maps, which I dislike. And also for a beginner, so that's, of course, my opinion. People can like the maps. And I think that the increased difficulty is good for me as a player. But for a beginner player, for a player who started the game or who's not that good, it's definitely not good that the maps are getting harder.
Yeah, I suppose I've personally not tried the campaign maps yet. It's just simply not something I've really got around to. But I think I think progressively as the game comes out, I mean, more difficult maps will certainly, be better for some of the players, of course. However, I mean, you're also having, especially most importantly with the campaign, having to cater to everyone. You have to cater to people from top to bottom. That's just the way it has to be dealt with in this, of course. So you can't just progressively increase the difficulty and expect everyone to be able to hang on. It needs to be accessible to everyone. But I mean, I can only hope that when it comes to at least the next yearly cycle of the game, so once we've had the kind of 4 seasons or whatever, that they do actually come out with new map, not remix. Because I mean, when you're having games come out previously with 100 track campaigns, some cases more, some cases less, mostly being unique maps, or maps with that don't take a lot from different kind of different sections of previous maps or previous games, with the exception of things like Turbo, for example. But you can't, like, when you're releasing maps 25, it feels like we're going to have the first 100 maps come out for Trackmania, this new Trackmania, and a lot of them are going to feel similar to each other. Whereas you don't really, I don't like that, you know? I don't like that when you had a campaign previously, we could play through a lot more maps and they'd be, well, maybe not a lot more maps, that's wrong. You play through a campaign and play on maps that there might not have been as much of them, of course, when all said and done, but they're all different, you know? They'll have their own style, they'll have their uniqueness to it, you know? But you're having maps like, for example, AO1, or not even AO1 now, it's O1 of each of them has the exact same start every time, you know? Some of these maps, as you're saying, are emulating summer ones or emulating autumn ones or things like that. You know, it's just, I don't like that, to be honest, but I'll need to actually take a look through the campaign maps myself before giving an opinion on it, to be fair, of course.
Yeah, so for me, some maps, not all maps, felt repetitive. And with that, like, you mean, let's take the slow-mo ending on 15 with the jump into the finish with the ring jumps, the reactor boost jump. So slow-mo, then reset block, and then there was the jump with the reactor boost into the 5 or 6 finish rings. In Night Mod, I think it was the map that Table did the thing on, but the same ending has been used as well. And I'm like, why? You know, I'm like, okay, it's like, maybe just my perception from the maps, but I think actually that, it is a bit, no need for it to be repetitive. But that could also be my opinion, because I like the Trackmania granting maps more, and maybe they have put more effort into that. But I think that are all the topics that we have covered today. I think. I mean, 2 weeks we haven't done a podcast. Anything else you want to add, Scotty?
Not today, or at least not so that we'll keep going for another fucking 2 hours.
Yeah, maybe the chat has something, but of course, I think with matchmaking we're gonna wait a bit to talk about that. I think we should wait until we have more information. But I think that's it from our side. And guys, remember that the podcast is sponsored by ESAC. And maybe you can give more information about the open map pool and about the competitions, because the open map pool has ended and is completed like a long time ago. I think, when was it? I think 24th of December or something like that. I don't remember the exact date, but there's also tournaments coming in the near future.
Yes. Now, just to correct you a little bit there, first of all, Competitive Open Map Pool is a rolling year-round project. So map submissions will be open permanently. They will stay at the same link, and it will be active all throughout the year. So the first map submissions were closed on the 24th of December, and the first map pack was released on the 1st of January. So not to worry, I'll keep you right. That's what I'm here for. Anyway, so the first map pack was, of course, released on the 1st of January. It is available on Mania Exchange. It is available on the ESAC Discord, and there will also be some videos made by our beloved Shorts within the next few days on each of map packs A, B, and C. A, of course, tailoring more to your entry-level tournament maps. B, your mid-tier to intermediate level maps. And C, your top-tier LAN event level maps. So something for everyone, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you guys playing them, see what kind of times you can get, seeing them involved in upcoming tournaments, which they should be within the next week or two, and also seeing what kind of maps are going to be coming into the pack. As remember, of course, that all of the map packs have permanent map applications. So if you want to be involved in the map testing team, you hit me up, you hit us up in Discord. Of course, if you want to submit a map, submit it at any time to the MX map pack, as Raveout's posting there, and also will be has been posted on Twitter by myself and ESAC. But definitely check that out, guys, if you want your map to be featured, if you want to be involved in the map making process, and so on and so forth. But yeah, that's been pretty much it for us. Of course, upcoming projects. Yeah, a long episode, but upcoming projects on ESAC, definitely to keep your eyes on, keep eyes peeled on all the social links. The website that's been posted just there as well for upcoming projects. with ESAC, which are numerous and are very interesting. But we will be back next week, same time and same place, right here on TM Scotsman's Twitch channel, which I might actually use for something else other than the podcast for once, but we'll see. But anyway, that's been it from us, guys. We are going to go off, have a lovely evening, and I hope you guys do as well. Wish you guys all the best for the rest of the week. And of course, once again, a happy new year to you all. Hope 2021 holds the best for you, holds the best for us, and hopefully the best for Trackmania. But good night, guys. We'll see you all next time.